G'day, welcome back. We're live today. We're live again. We're live every day. For 30 days, we're live every day. It's awesome. Having so much fun with this. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time here, welcome. We're at day 19. Where have you been? So we've got 11 more days to go. And then I'm going to have a break from doing this live every day. As much as I'm having fun with it, I'm going to have a break. And then who knows if you guys want, if you let me know, contact me, comment, and say, "Hey, Mike, we want more of it," then I might come back and do another series. So I'd love to know what ideas you had. What composition was this series? So if you've got another idea about, could be an app, could be Snapseed. Show us all the tools inside Snapseed. That would be easily be another 30 days, or Lightroom. Yeah, I'd love to hear your ideas. All right, so today we're going to talk about moving elements in your photo. That's the theme today. That's what we're going to talk about. It's why do we do that? We do that because sometimes we don't have the luxury of being able to move things, and the definition of composition is the placement of objects and other supporting elements, how they all interact with each other, how you create depth, and then that leads to connecting that with your photographic intention, what motivated you to take the photo, to kind of create that story, that visual literacy, if you like, of then being able to manipulate the attention of the viewer. I've said this nearly every day now. It's where you attract their attention somewhere in the frame, you hold their attention, you engage them, and you move them around, and that movement around the frame is what creates that narrative, which is pretty cool. It's pretty exciting when you get to that level. All right. So the app that we're going to use today is Handy Photo. It's a paid app, and it's available on both iOS and Android. It's like $2.99 or $2.49. Depends where you live, conversions. But it's cheap. It's so cheap. And being a company from ADVA Soft, you know it's going to be a good product because they do TouchRetouch. Anyway, before I move on, I've got a quick little stinger that I've put together. A stinger is like a quick little video clip with the logo, and I want to have a play with it. So let's hit that. How was that? Was that cool? I think it was cool. I'm not sure of the volume. That sounded really loud in my ears, so I might have to have a bit more of a play with that. All right, so this app that we're talking about, Handy Photo. Now, this is what it looks like. Let me just bring it up. Okay, so this is a photo. This was a photo that Marion put together, sent through. It was a one-on-one that I did with Marion. And which camera am I looking at now? Because it's a small camera I'm looking at. That's why I made this, because I'm a small square in the corner. I made it so that I was looking at the more zoomed in camera. One day I'm going to be a professional at this. Maybe. All right, so this is what the app looks like. Handy Photo. Now, this was Marion and I worked on this photo. It was a one-on-one session. It was great fun, and that's on YouTube, and Marion was happy for me to share it there with you, so that was fantastic. And basically we worked on lots of different things here with the composition. And what I like about this app from Handy Photo is that, just like all the apps that I use, it's available on Google Play and the App Store. That really limits your options, because there's not many developers that work on both platforms. And David Addison, on his show, he explains it really well, that basically developers, it's really hard for them to test multiple Android devices, whereas with the iPhone, they've got the one operating system. They just have to, as there's a new phone comes out, they just need to update it to work. Sorry, new iOS update comes through. They just need to update the app and show it that way. All right, so I'm going to digress for a moment, because Will placed the comment in this video before we went live, which was fantastic. Thank you, Will. That basically, Will said that beware, this app hasn't been updated for nearly 5 years, which is not a good sign. I used to think like that, and I totally get that. When I was creating my top 6 photo editing app selections That's a free workbook, a PDF that I have inside my free membership. So if you go to smartphonephotography.club, you'll be able to access that, or my top 6. Part of the selection criteria was that I stayed clear of apps that hadn't been updated, because it felt like that, the perception was that they didn't support their apps. Like, they created their app, charged a little bit of money, and then disappear and go on to other projects. But I actually sent an email off to ADVA last night, and within 2 hours, within an hour, I had a response, which, that's a pretty active developer to respond that quickly. Now, ADVA, I follow a few of the staff on LinkedIn. They're always engaging. They're right in the thick of it in the industry, and they seem like a really great company. And you know how much I'm an advocate of TouchRetouch. I love it. In the app, every now and again, when you're using it regularly, they'll have an invitation come up to be on their beta program. So you might even be on the beta program, and it's fantastic. You get access to what's coming up, and TouchRetouch have got some really cool stuff coming up. So last night they responded and they said that where are you? It was they took quite a bit of time to do this. They said, thank you for contacting us with your interesting question, because I asked them, I'm going live and I'm going to be talking about your app and explaining how much I love it and do a quick demonstration. And I said, there's this objection that I want to be able to address it, and I'm not quite sure how to. So they said, yes, you're right. The Handy Photo app hasn't been updated for a long time. As you probably know, we have one more app, TouchRetouch. The app is much more popular than Handy Photo, and that's why we pour more effort and time into it. In addition, we've been working on several new projects. Ooh, new projects. Can I spread a rumor? I have a suspicion I haven't spoken to anyone at ADVA. I'm not spilling the beans here or anything, but I have a suspicion that they're going to blend the two. I reckon some of the features that are inside Handy Photo, I reckon they might bring, and not in this update, because I've in the beta program, so it's not in this update, but that's coming, because it's in a whole new interface. It looks amazing, but I reckon they've got a plan down the track to blend the two. Or maybe they'll go and actually really revamp Handy Photo. That said, it hasn't been updated for over 4 years, but I love it. It works. It works faultlessly. I'm not sure about on Android, but on the iPhone, it works faultlessly. All right, so then they say, however, I'd like to assure you that we haven't abandoned Handy Photo. We're now thinking about updating it. I could let you know when we have any news about it, or even a beta version. Awesome. There you go. Hope I've managed to answer the question, and the information will be useful for you and your audience. Any additional questions, please feel free to ask us. How cool is that? That is so cool. All right. So there you go. They haven't abandoned it, and they're going to be, and they've got plans for it in the future, which is really cool, really exciting. Alrighty. Okay. So what I want to do is actually show you the app now. Now, why would we want to move elements in the frame? I mean, there's lots of apps out there, kind of gimmicky. Some of them are free, and are not worth the free price tag. They're just a waste of time. Your time is valuable. Don't waste your time on rubbish apps. I've done all the work for you. It's quite a process to go through and select from the many different types out there. And what I love about this app is that it's intuitive. It's easy to use. You can pick up an element in the frame and reposition it. You can resize it, and then it uses all the stuff that it does so well in TouchRetouch. As you pick it up and move it, it'll fill in that area that you picked it up from. So it's not like a lot of those cheap apps where you can cut something out and then create a sticker out of it and then stick it onto other photos. You can do that with TouchRetouch, but I just find this to be just a well-rounded app. Okay, so it does a lot of things in this app, but I'm just going to show you the main ones. Okay, I'll put myself on the other side. There we go. So I'm not covering it up. Okay, all right. So when I was working with this photo with Marion, we were working on it for a little while, and we were creating some depth, and we were working on the shadows, and we were trying to create. We were using that two-dimension perspective where the floor and the roof of the shed kind of taper and head off to a diminishing point in the distance. We were using the bench seat, and we were playing around with that. And it wasn't until after we finished the session that I even saw the person standing in the frame. And that's such a shame, because the person, like, as you know, if you put a human element in the photo, then it just takes off. And one of my favorite YouTube channels, Sorelle Amore, she's got over 1 million viewers now. She does lots of different lifestyle and even finance and all that sort of thing. But she has a playlist dedicated to photography. And she talks about this in her channel, that when she was trying to get into photography and have a following and Instagram, all that sort of thing, one of the things that she wanted to do was landscape, go to these amazing locations, and she goes to some pretty amazing locations living in Iceland now. She's an Aussie, and one of the things she said was she would go to all these places and learn how to take the photos, but they look like everyone else's. So what Sorelle did was she started to involve herself, place herself in the photos, so that there was a human element in her landscape photos. And it worked. It works because people notice and spot people. Now, inside my stronger photo composition, my 4-step system, in the introduction there, I talk about how there have been studies where they've put goggles on people and then been able to use heat maps to identify the point of fixation, and then the eye movements and where they go, like, and how they move around a piece of art or graphic design or a photo. And it's really interesting that when there's faces or people, it's one of the first things that we kind of instinctively or primitively, we just kind of spot it. And because I talked about this last week, that it might be a fight or flight thing. It's like, are they a threat? Are they friendly? What's the mannerism? What's the gesture? All that sort of thing. So we kind of pick up on that first. And when you include a person in the frame, it looks amazing, because you kind of pick up on them, and it evokes that response of, oh, I wish I was there, and you can imagine yourself being there. So when I saw this person here after we finished it all, it's like, oh no, we missed an opportunity. And the reason why is because they're down there, and the top half is kind of camouflaged in that the bank, if you like, whatever we call the shoreline, it's the lake, but I don't know. But you can see a bit of isolation with the legs, and it was the legs that actually picked up my attention. So I thought, what would look really good, really fantastic here is if only that person was a few meters closer to the water, and then her head and shoulders would be above that shoreline, and then that would isolate her. So your eye goes along the shoreline, and then you go, oh, bump, and then along the shoreline again. So you're isolating it, you're interrupting that line. Handy photo. It's awesome. It does it for us. Let me just see if we've got a logo here that I can keep up here. Pretty sure I do. There we go. All right. And that's covered me. Oh, that's nice. See, one day I'll be a pro at this. Okay, I'll move myself back over to there. There we go. So Handy Photo is the app. That's what it looks like. All right. I think I've talked about it enough. Let me just show you what it does now. All right. So I'll zoom out, and every app that I use that I recommend has to, as part of my checklist, has to have the ability to be able to pinch and zoom in and around the photo, because we're working on little screens, and I know my eyesight's not improving as I get older, and it makes it easier. Okay, so the first thing we do is we tap on the hand up in the top right corner, and excuse me. It's up in the top right corner. You've got a few options here. We have tone and color, which is really handy because you can play around with all that. Snapseed, Lightroom, Polar, they're my kind of 3 go-to apps for that sort of thing. So I don't do it inside here, but there is the option. Let's just tap on it and have a look. So you can actually go and you got this spinning wheel down the corner. And yep, you can still see that with me in the corner there. So you got this spinning wheel, so you can do all these cool stuff. So yeah, have a play. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use Move Me. So did you see there, while you're looking there, retouch and clone stamp. So it has some of the features here of Handy Photo. So let's just, TouchRetouch. So let's just do that. We'll just go, use a paintbrush, not the outline, paintbrush, And where's the go button? Is it that one? No, where's the go? You can tell I don't use this here. Retouch. Oh, there we go. Boom, and they've gone. So if you're strapped for cash and you can't afford to get TouchRetouch and Handy Photo, TouchRetouch, yeah, they've got a new version coming out very shortly that looks amazing. But that worked. That worked really well. Okay, so undo the selection. All right, tap on the hand again. And we're going to go to Move Me. All right. Now, as you saw there, we had a couple of options. We can do the lasso or we could do a paintbrush. I'm going to do the paintbrush because when we swipe on it, have a look what happens. We get a little loop come up and lets us get in and fine tune. Now, we don't have to be too precise because this is TouchRetouch kind of power behind it, so it'll pick up. But I'm going to try and get as close as I can because, as you know, I'm a perfectionist. Okay, that might be a bit tricky. The hair looks like the the foliage there or the vegetation there behind it. Okay. All right. Zoom out a little bit more so then my brush gets bigger. And I don't have a fast forward here because we're live, so you're going to have to watch me. All right, so now that I've done that, next I'm going to tap on the button where it's, well, the icon looks like two Christmas trees. It's the middle one. I think it's the middle one. Yep, move to a new. Look at that. As soon as I move it, boom. Like, it's amazing. It's gone. There's no sign of it anywhere. So I'm going to pinch and zoom outside of her on the screen. Just pinch and zoom so that I can zoom back out. Now, one of the things that I love about photography is that you have control. This is not photojournalism. You can change things the way you want. And what I want to do here is resize her. So I want to make her bigger again because that is probably what she looked like. But because Marion, when she took this photo, might have used the default camera setting, and the default camera setting is a wide angle photo. So then with a wide angle photo, you get that, I forgot which camera I was looking at. I need a red light to pop up. I'm looking here now. So with a wide angle lens, what happens is you get that compression or that lens to subject distortion where things that are further away look smaller. So in real life, she probably looked quite tall, but because of the camera, it made her look smaller. So what I'm going to do is try and bring back the authenticity of the scene. Okay? You like that? The authenticity of the scene. And where do I move her? Where am I going to move her? So what have I got there that I can move her? So I talked about earlier where we've got that two parallel lines of the bottom of the shed and the top of the shed and how they both kind of go head in. So I'm going to use that kind of implied line of sight there, and I'm going to match her with it, but I'm not going to throw her in. I'm going to leave her on the grass. Okay, zoom in, and all right. Now I think it's the top one, and then the first one. Yeah, perfect. If you get it wrong and you place it on the wrong spot, or it says copy to a new photo, just press the undo button. All right. Why have I got a red dot there? There we go. All right. Just erase that. But how cool is that? I mean, how much different does that look? Because now she's not lost now. Now you can see her and you can bring yourself into the scene. Okay, so tap on there and then we go save, and that'll got lots of different options. I'm not sure what it looks like on the Android. I assume it looks very similar. PNG, I always do PNG. Original, large will bring it back down to I think it's it'll be minimum 2000 pixels. I can't remember what it is, but you just go gallery as the original size. There we go. So it's still the original size. All right, and we're done. And then you can go into one of your other favorite apps. You can go into and this is what we did. We actually used Lightroom first to bring back some colors, and we used the dehaze tool, but not as you would think. The dehaze tool, instead of using it to get rid of haze, we actually brought some haze into it, and then yeah, it looked really cool. Alright, so I think I actually have the before and after as a comparison here. Just bear with me, I'll bring it up. Boom, boom, boom. Talk amongst yourselves while I do this. There we go. Alright. Get rid of our little icon down the bottom there. Fantastic. So there we go. So there's the before and after that I was working with Marion. So you can see we kind of, did we crop in a little bit? No, we didn't even crop it. Oh yeah, we cropped the sky. We cropped some of the sky because we wanted to bring the attention back to the foreground. And you can see that we brightened up the shed a little bit to bring out the textures. We brightened up some of the road because we wanted the road and the ice to kind of stand out a little bit more. We didn't do too much, but I think the biggest thing, which was after our one-on-one session, but unfortunately, was to move that person. I think that was probably the biggest improvement there. All right. So hopefully you found that handy. Hopefully I handled that objection about the app being not updated for so long, because I felt the same way, and I totally get it. But yeah, but how good's that? Within an hour they responded and said that, hey, yeah, we haven't forgot about it. We've got some plans, which is really exciting. So just to recap, we move elements in the frame because sometimes we don't have the luxury of being able to do that at the time, and it could like bring back the authenticity of the scene that we kind of get lost in the camera because of the limitations of a smartphone. It so it brings back that. You can reposition things within leading lines, which is really cool. You can bring back some isolation. And what other things have I got here? Let me have a quick look. I have my big list here. This is the whole idea behind the whole focus composition stacking, is that we stack it, we blend it all. So by doing it, we can assist other compositional techniques and rules and tools. So it helps to correct distortion. We can improve symmetry, because you can have symmetry. You can have two sides that have that are mirrored, but then there's something like a person walks into the scene. You can use TouchRetouch to get rid of them, or you can use this to copy them. That's the other thing. You can actually copy them and paste them on the other side. Okay, and then go and change the color of their jacket so they look like a different person, but you have that symmetry, if that makes sense. Asymmetrical balance, really helpful for that, because you can asymmetrical balance is when you have equal visual weight, but they're two different sizes. So you might have a large tree, but then over the other side you might have, and you have some space in between on the other side, you might have a collection of small trees, but they provide the same sort of visual weight. You might have something really tall and something short, but then it fills up more area, so you have that visual weight. So using Handy Photo, you might be able to move an element to try and balance that visual weight to make it asymmetrical. All right. Nope. Won't help that. Okay. What else will it help? It'll help place things off center. It'll help implement rule of thirds. You can move something to the left, so it can be left to right. You can create more negative space. You can fill the frame, because you can actually, as we saw, we can actually zoom in, which is really cool. You can fix those on. I was going to say fix the proportions, but not really. Silhouette, not really. That was more isolation than silhouette. Juxtaposition, definitely. Juxtaposition is where you make, it's like figure to ground. So you make the figure, the main element, you make that stand out against the background. What else we got? No, not really. Layering with overlap. We talked about that the other day. So you could do that. So you could move something in, so you place it on top of something else. So something that's in the distance, you can pick it up and then bring it across the photo, smack it on top of something else. So now instead of it being in the distance, and now you've copied it, filled in the area behind it, and you've come back and slapped it over top of something. So now you've changed So now it's actually, so you can change that